to the 7th episode of Minecraft Constructed. In this episode of Minecraft Constructed, I actually go ahead and create myself a Barrett 50.Cal. I'm very surprised because I'm pretty sure I did mention this in one of my previous episodes where most of my stuff was weapons. So yeah, so basically I just went straight onto Google and checked out what type of things I could make, and Barrett 50.Cal was, or sniper or a type of gun was in the back of my mind for a while. So yeah, so here you go. I'm actually building the I believe it's the stock of the Barrett 50.Cal, where you mount it against your shoulder so that you can stop it from going anywhere. And it seems, I just want to get that curve. I do end up making this about 5 blocks wide because I wanted to make sure that I had enough space and detail for the actual barrel of the gun and everything else. So at first I do make it 3 wide, and then I quickly have to delete a few things down the line to fix it to make it 5 wide. So here we go, that's my 3 wide stock of the Barrett 50.Cal, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks good. It's not until I actually come back later, I'm pretty sure it's a bit further down the line, I think it's like the next 2 minutes or so, where I actually make it 5 wide. I think I start trying to make the barrel now and then just realize that I have to, looking at the actual design of the Barrett 50.Cal, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to make it 5 wide. So I actually start building some of the barrel right now using the, I believe that's andesite or pyrite, I'm not sure what it is. I keep forgetting the actual names of these blocks in Minecraft because I don't really pay attention much. It's just like, oh yeah, this is the design I want to go for, and it works. So I believe it was here. This polished andesite. I keep forgetting. Such a pro at Minecraft. Alright. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. You see me now actually making it 5 wide because detail was super lax when it came to the actual barrel of the gun, because it had like a slanting slope to it, and the way it was already designed prior to this was not that ideal. So I might as well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll skip to the part where I actually finish the barrel of the gun because this is extremely repetitive. So I'll be cutting out a fair amount. So yeah, I'll see you guys after I finish the barrel. Alright, so I haven't finished the entire length of the barrel, but I actually wanted to work on the actual stock of the sniper rifle first before I did that, just so I can get a gist of what the size would actually look like. So if you actually do look on the Google images, it's usually, if you put in Barrett 50.Cal, it is exactly one of the very first images that is on the list. So I'm trying to get this diagonal feel, so it looks like it's gradually connecting up. It also has more of a, it's not really a slant, but it diagonals up and then diagonals up again, but not fully vertical. So here you go, I'm adding some torches just to make it a bit easier for you guys to see. I believe that in editing it'll probably be a lot harder to see, but for now I'm just adding more of these black stained clay blocks, and I realized that the actual part of the stock where it diagonals up, I have hardly nails with this, but it has holes in it. I'm like, yeah, that's why I needed to make it at least 3 by 3 by 3, so that it actually hold true to the actual drawing, or not the drawing, the actual nature of the Barrett 50.Cal. I'm adding like this extra little lip thing at the end of it, and it was hard to make considering it was actually quite significantly small. I also add a few more blocks here and there to make it look more sloped, and make sure that the holes don't look like they're too, overpowering in the actual thing itself. So I believe this is where, yeah, I'm gonna skip this. This is where I make a huge barrel. So yeah, I'll be back. Alright. So after I finished that, I started working on the actual trigger or trigger holder for it. I also changed the brightness settings here, just for the sake of argument, because it's a lot easier for me to see, because black, when on the lowest moody setting of brightness, is pretty bad. I do end up making a mistake at one point. There you go, I just made it. Like a fool I was, I checked it twice. yeah, the actual trigger part of the gun was a bit more difficult to make, considering that I was working on such a smaller scale than I expected. Even though I upscaled twice, it was still, you know, pretty small, I'd have to admit. So here you go, you can actually see me building the majority of the actual handle of the trigger itself. You can actually see me filling up all the blanks and making it look more solid and rigid. And I think this is where I start making the actual trigger itself, or the part underneath of the trigger where it actually, I think it's the handguard for the trigger where you pull the trigger or something, I'm not sure. And I have to connect that right next to the magazine of the actual gun, surprisingly enough. And it was like, oh, it's sweet. That looks fairly nice. I wish it looked a bit more detailed, but hey, this is Minecraft. You can only do so much. So here you go. You can actually see me now starting to build the actual chamber of where you put the magazine itself. And this one was like really sloped because the way it was shaped. I was like, okay, sweet. I have to add like 2 up, 2 up, 2. And that's how I managed to build it, make it look that way. Then I have to build the magazine itself, and I decided to do it in straight and side. I knew it was andesite. Got it right. Thank you, Minecraft. Pro skills. Okay, so here you go. You can actually see me build the magazine. I end up coming back, or I do put slabs. Sorry. On the side where it just makes it look more 3D like, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it just made it look like the magazine actually went somewhere and it doesn't look so flat. So I was kind of pressed for trying to get as much detail as I could out of the actual magazine itself. So here you go, I just moved the trigger back somewhat and then moved the magazine a bit thicker so that it's thicker than the actual magazine itself, the magazine chamber. Correction, I should say it right the first time. Right. Now this part was just some extra clip that was on the side of the magazine based on the picture I was going off, and well, considering I can only work with one thick block, so it's kind of weird looking, but it just made a tad bit more sense. So yeah, I made a mistake in making the actual body of the barrel of the Barrett 50.Cal too long, so yeah, you will see I am deleting most of this, so I'll cut this out when I finish deleting it. Okay, now that I've almost finished deleting this, I believe I start actually working on the main barrel of the gun where the bullet actually comes out of, and I think it was a bit too long at first, but I just leave it as that because I was too lazy to fix it. Not too lazy to fix it, I was just more concerned whether I should make it too long or too short. It's better to go too long, knowing that you can cut it down to make it shorter, rather than making it too short and then realizing you have to go back and fix it. So here you go, I actually add some slabs, half slabs, cobblestone half slabs, to give it a bit more depth, because one block was too small. I would like it 2 blocks, so that's why I add the slabs underneath and on top to make it a bit more thicker. I also do that with the actual original barrel of the gun, which I probably cut out prior. So here's the actual muzzle of the Barrett 50.Cal, and I'm very happy how this turned out. As in, I think it looks really nice. How the effect of putting blocks, or the black stain blocks at the back and down the original barrel of the gun, made it seem like it was hollow and went all the way through. Also add some half slabs because the muzzle is actually thicker than the barrel itself. And I also put some underneath because obviously it has to be semi the same. And I keep saying that all the time, I actually removed these blocks and then put the black stain blocks in there, and it actually looks really nice. It's how I wanted it to turn out to be. So there you go, I've done the majority of the gun now. I think I do the legs next, and then after that I do the scope, or I work on the body, or one of the two, I'm not sure what I do. Now, there's these little slots in the actual Barrett 50.Cal. There's about 8 or 7, and I end up making them like 2 wide, but I go back and actually make all of them 3 wide, which actually fits quite nicely. I think I made a mistake and added 1 too many. I was like, oh, that's fine. Adding the black stained clay at the back, again, just made it look like it had a bit more depth, like it was hollow. And adding half slabs at the top. I wish there was half slabs in the actual stone andesite, but there isn't, unfortunately. So I pretty much do this on this other side as well. But there's also the fact that there were notches above it as well. So I had to go around and then delete the half slabs and the andesite blocks that I placed down to the original barrel of the gun, and then replace the center blocks, the ones that are in the middle of the barrel, with black. Obviously they're not meant to be black, but it just gives a bit more depth, a bit more feel to the gun. So there you go. And then I simply repeat this on the other side. Now I start actually working on the legs, and I eventually go like down one block and out one block and down and so on, and delete the ones in between. But I thought it was too steep. It needed to be a bit more shallow. I had these like half slabs to make it look like there's holes in the actual legs, or that's what's actually holding up the majority of the legs themselves, but it looked too steep. Even now I end up thinking about it, I do actually go back and delete all of it and start again and make it 2 down across 1, 2 down. So you can tell that it's just too, already for me it's just too steep. It's like, yeah, nah, I didn't like it. Even from afar, it looked like the legs weren't long enough, because the legs are supposed to be the longest thing holding it up, because if you're lying down on the ground you want the legs to be standing upright, well, on a shallow steep thing. I don't know what they're called on guns. I have hardly anything to say about this, but there you go. You can actually see me going 2 down, 1 across, and deleting the ones in between, and this looks much more realistic considering the legs actually has something to stand on and the magazine doesn't hit the ground when you do stuff like this. So it's like, yeah, it works. Again, I put half slabs in to make it look like there's notches and holes and the actual thing there isn't, and then just give it about 3x3 foot to sit on. Oh, this is so professionally done, yeah! Okay, yeah, I did the same to the other side. That was fantastic. There you go. Now that's the legs done. I believe I go up and replace some of the half slab with stairs, and thankfully these are half slabs, and it gives that railing that sits on top of the Barrett 50.Cal, and I work this all the way through to about all the way to like the magazine. Well, that's where it is in correlation with the actual picture I was copying from, so it's like, oh yeah. About there was just right, and I think that looks amazing with the actual railing itself, because that's where the actual scope is mounted on and sits on it and like slides in and stays there. So there was also this random little clip thing, I don't know what this was, and I was kind of hard pressed to make it look as right as possible, because making a scope in Minecraft, and especially when it's not exactly big on scale, for me was extremely hard. I've never worked on like a scope before that actually goes from small to big, if you know what I mean, like the circles going from smaller to bigger, because it always looks like a point instead of a cone. Not really a cone, but you know, a scope down sight barrels, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I tried to make this only 2 high and 3 thick just to stay with the dimensions, and trying to make a scope out of that was pretty hard, because I know 3 high was too much. And I think this is the adjuster that they have on top to change the magnification. I think I add one of those onto the side as well, but it was kind of hard to do that too, considering that I don't have stairs that work sideways. They only work up, down, left and right. They don't work on the side against the wall or anything, so I was kind of gutted. So yeah, I add extra slabs just to make it a bit thinner, and try at least to make it a scope-like. It's kind of finicky to work with a scope and then adding extra blocks without it hitting any of the, what do you call it, the actual railing itself. And I also just realised that I didn't make it thick enough, and then I was like, crap, I'm going to have to go back and delete some of the slabs, because some of the slabs were wrong. So, shit, failure on another level. So there you go, you can actually see me putting the slabs back in again and making it extra thicker, because I went back and deleted it by accident. So yeah, this becomes the part where it's just me playing around trying to figure out how to do the best scope in Minecraft with the smallest amount of blocks I could. So if I don't have much to say, it's because I honestly don't know how I did this to the way I did it. It just looks legit from a distance, so bear in mind, I'm trying to do my utmost in making the scope a scope. Alright? Now, I think this is... I'm calling it the ballistic CPU, only because I've played Call of Duty quite a lot. So, forgive me if there is someone's going to correct me in the comments that this is the real name. You scrub, blah blah blah. I don't really mind. But that's the ballistic CPU I tried adding. Now, this is the point where I actually make the scope extend and a bit bigger. Obviously, the scope itself shouldn't be sitting on the railing itself, on the Barrett 50.Cal's barrel or body. But I couldn't exactly do that because the way that it should be thinner at the beginning of the scope and then expand out bigger and not hit the actual railing. But unfortunately, I made a mistake, and trying to fix that now would be detrimental or something. Oh, this is gonna take so damn long. And honestly, to be honest, this is sped up by like 300%. So what you're seeing here is obviously a lot faster, and a lot of it's been edited down to make it a bit more easier to watch. And yeah, honestly, not that I don't enjoy doing stuff like this, but you know, sometimes it comes to a point where you're like, doing the same thing over and over again can get let's just not, I can't really say cumbersome, but you know, you do eventually tire out and go, yeah, I want to come back to this later because I'm getting tired. Not that, you know. But anyway, where am I going with this? The scope. There you go. There is a lot of like intricacies just to try and make this bigger and smaller. It was just horrendous. So here you go. You can actually see me doing my utmost to make it as big as possible without, so that it stays symmetrical on the top half and the bottom half of the scope. I also add in black stained clay because reasons. It just looks a lot nicer with it. I think I also add in glass, just because obviously it's being magnified, so glass, it should be glass. If it's not glass, then what is it? Yeah, it doesn't look terribly great, but you know, I'm trying to do my utmost here, so much thanks would be appreciated. Write down in the comments if you like my scope, because I know it's pro skills. There you go. I'm trying to make sure that both sides look symmetrical as possible. And yeah, that is pretty much how I did my scoping. Yeah, this one just did take the longest out of everything, just to try and make it look right. So there you go. Now you can actually see we're adding the black stained glass and clay and fixing it here and there. So that's the first scope at the front, and now I have to make the scope at the back. Now this one wasn't too hard, but at first I think I made it lopsided, as in if you were to really look down the scope, you wouldn't be seeing you wouldn't be looking at the other end, you'll be looking at nothing. You'll be looking at broken glass or a broken magnifying thing, because it's just off. You can tell already that I've made it too low, and then I end up just adding more blocks to make it look like it's in the right place, although it's still a bit wonky. Yeah, you probably can't see it now, but when you let it down, I do zoom out and have a look at it, and it is wonky, and I do fix it. So there you go, you can tell right about now that it's pretty wonky. Yep, it's wonky. Look at it, it looks terrible. Yeah, see, look at that. Perfect, nailed it first try. I was like, what the hell? That's not what I wanted. So yeah, I do end up deleting like the top half of it, or majority of the top half, and making it a few slabs higher. I think it's like 2 slabs or something like that, just to make it look like it's straight, somewhat. It's not like a bent banana or a straight banana. Now I think about it, is it weird to have a bent banana or a straight banana? Who knows? Never mind. There you go. Now, here's the scope. Obviously replacing it with stained glass and stained clay. And try to make it just look as best as possible. Which it is. Close skills. So there we go. It's semi alright. It still looks a tad bit wonky here and there, but hey, what can you do? So there you go. That's pretty much done. I also realized that the stock had like a bit of the inside missing. Not missing, just like you could clip something behind there. So yeah, look at that. Barrett 50.Cal looks freaking awesome. And then I also go around adding these slabs like I previously mentioned before, which I didn't do. I actually just added stairs to where it actually increased in... It's not declined, it increased in something. There was a word for it, but I lost it. So there you go. Barrett 50.Cal in Minecraft built to a huge scale. I love it. The muzzle looks amazing. The feet look amazing. The gun itself just looks fantastic. So yeah. I think I also go around doing some extra stuff, but I'm not sure if I do or not. Do I? I don't know. I've still got like about another 3 minutes or 2 minutes of this video, so I'm like very skeptical. Oh yes, this is actually where your bolt action is. I totally forgot about the bolt action. But because this is asymmetrical build, so trying to build the actual bolt where you pull back and rechamber the next round and pull it back down again. Yeah, there was like springs and stuff, so that's why I add those stairs there and replace what's behind it. So yeah, that's my bolt action. Not the greatest bolt action in the world, I must say, but hey, at least it's there. That's what I'm proud of. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been my Barrett 50.Cal. You can actually see me right now taking a screenshot, I believe. Yep, there you go. It says screenshot is 2016 of the first second second. I just realized that the dates on my screenshots are the dates that I've actually built it. I might actually go back and replace some... not replace, just add signs and saying what day I built this to see over the next coming months or so, how long. Or when I eventually, you know, when I build shit tons more. Because I'm going to keep... This is a series I'm proud to have. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been the Barrett 50.Cal built in Minecraft. And I salute to you. Bye!
Where the hell did you hack us?
Oh, if you've played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, you would know.